So public deliberations is more about making a case to the government to change the way public participation is being done.
The public cannot understand technical, difficult budget processes. So this has been an argument advanced by sometimes government officials who say, why engage them, people don't understand. So we are doing public deliberation to show that maybe that argument is stretched again too far. You know, it is true some of those processes are fairly technical, but it is not entirely true that the public cannot participate in that process. With the right information, in the right quantity, people can be able to actually digest these processes.
Generally, the deliberations bit is to try and see whether there's a different way, a more effective way to engage the public in this new space that now is available in Kenya with decentralization, to get the public involved a bit more in budget discussions.
So we are going to divide ourselves into 4 groups. After you have discussed and just understanding the sector, we will come back here and we will debate how should we allocate money between infrastructure, ICT, and energy, and education. You have 100 shillings, it is all the money available to government. It is all available for distribution. But you have 2 sectors. You have energy and you have education. How much will you give to each of these 2 sectors and why?
All the departments, there were allocations. But apparently, in regulation and development of construction industry, there was no allocation.
But you see,
and then the coming year, the following year,
there was 1 billion.
Allocation of 1
billion. 2016, 2017.
So that is
2017, 2018. Yeah, there was an allocation of 1 billion. So I was just trying to understand what informed the decision of the government to now give it $1 billion. That is where we are. I'm also trying to look at this very department in terms of is it the 4 pillars that the national government is currently talking about?
The big 4.
The big 4. Mm-hmm. Housing is part of it.
Mm-hmm. My thinking in this, I'm not justifying the allocations, but my interest basically is to validate, because then there must be formulas of calculating why this has to be this way.
Then why was it allocated the following year?
Yes.
The reason is, one of the things that the national has not done, or the national government has not done well, however much they have transferred functions, but they don't follow it.
Yes, probably.
Are you understanding? They have transferred functions, but they've not transferred
the funds.
Resources.
Yes.
So probably the first round of allocation, the assumption was money to 40 billion. And that is why so many of these governors were like, we put affordable houses, which they never did. The national government have done very well in terms of purporting to have transferred what? Functions. But they've not transferred what? Resources. So my thinking is this. I have 2 schools of thoughts. The first 5 years, people were putting up structures. That's very political. People were putting structures to be functional. And probably that is why they never did what? They never put money for that.
When you look at the State Department for Petroleum, then we have the State Department for Energy. Actually, these 2 sectors that are started duplicating themselves.
So what in it?
Because when you look at this one, exploration and distribution of oil and gases, then you look at the other one up there, general administration, planning and support services, given 1 billion. Exploration of oil and gas is given 5 billion. Could these 2 things be merged into one? That's an all-encompassing. Power generation is there. That is exploration. If we use wind energy, other sources of energy. So at least maybe they will give us details on this, but we have a bit of duplication across in these 2.
We have 2 functions in education sector that are devolved. We have the ECD and the youth polytechnic. Has the county government done enough to improve these 2 devolved programs of education? The little that the county government is getting, are they doing enough with that small they are getting to improve? I'm talking out of experience in this because I see the situation of my ECD school back at home.
Public deliberation borrows from a very simple theory in political science, which is basically that you govern by discussions. Governance by discussion is basically to say, for everything that we'll do as a country, we will talk about it. Then we'll agree on the best approach. It will not mean that everyone will get what they want every time, but at least there will be an agreed approach, because everyone will listen to the justification from the other person, and then we'll find a way forward that is agreeable to all of us.
People given time and the right kind of information can actually contribute to a discussion. And they don't need to know the granular details. They don't need to know every last detail of things. I mean, we had the sectors that we were having debates around this time, you know, education and infrastructure, you know, and whether to invest more in capital development or in human development. People had ideas, and they were all speaking from the context that they were working from.
Now I'm no longer listening to reasons. As I said, the reason why it's good to give reasons is because you're trying to convince the person next to you. All right? You're trying to convince the person next to you that actually, my friend, if we actually put more money into education, is a good thing. And this is the reason why. That's why I said there is no reason that is wrong. But it's just that we have to make a decision about one priority, which is basically saying one thing this time will be more important than the other one, money-wise.
All the infrastructure is in Kenya, like the Bika Super Highway. We are borrowing all the step contracts from China. If we could have educated people in Kenya, we could have done that one. So what generally means is that the net profit from that work is going to China instead of coming to our country. What to Kenya National Hospital? We are having those machines. Machines are there. Nobody is able to work on them because we are not having the tools. And those tools which are required is that knowledge. Mambo mwanzo wa kila kitu ni knowledge. Then from knowledge, us.
This raises a lot of concerns as to why, as a country, we are hiring experts from outside. Why? Because we are not fast in embracing our own. That is what we are not doing. We are investing on an education system that is currently not helping us. Why do we have a large group of people coming out of school and they don't have employment? Two, they don't have a source of income that we can say that this one is what I went to school to do.
When I am seeing Chinese doing some work that they're supposed to be doing, so first of all, you have to address that. Why are we inviting experts to our country to do the work that we can be able to do? That the answer is we don't have those expertise. We have running people. We need more money in education and be focused as a country towards what we demand and what we require, so that we can utilize our young people and our expatriates in all the areas of our operations.
Yeah. One, we've talked so well. We've talked of what we are supposed to do. But now, the situation is, the system that is producing people who don't have a C+ in mathematics is the same. You want us to put all our money in there. So, for now, there's no point in this whatever I saw where we change our tactics in approaching education. It's the same system that is producing half-baked that you want us to put all our money there.
Kama sahizi hapa, for example, si kila mtu wako na kazi hapa. Ni watu wachache wako na kazi. Elimu hatuna. Na wengi wako na elimu. Na wengi wako na elimu. So mimi ningependa watu watengenezewe kazi kwanza, tutengeneze kwanza kazi, tutengeneze industries, tufanye nini, alafu tuandike, ndio imotivate hata wale wengine wenye wanasoma kusoma zaidi. Ndio tufungue area yetu kama barabara, tu connect na Sudan, kwa sababu si kila mtu amesoma. Kuna wale watu ambao wanafanya biashara. Bila hiyo biashara, huyo mtu kwake haitakula. Bila hiyo biashara ama bila barabara nzuri, sisi hatutapata mboga hapa. So ni heri tutengeneze kazi kwanza ndio turudi kwa elimu.
Those jobs ni long life jobs or long term or short lived kind of jobs, because hatuwezi maliza pesa yote kwa jobs ambayo inacreatiwa for 2 months or 2 weeks inaisha, and then unabaki hapo hujasoma hujafaidika. So
hii job unapata job without a qualification, and that qualification inatokana na masomo. Then ile majobu unaongea ni ile ya kupiga bush, ile hii makasho ndio unaongea, si ile jobs ya maana ambaye masomo inaweza leta.
Pengine hao wame squeeze minds yao kwa kazi, lakini hiyo haikuwa lengo langu, ilikuwa ni part ya kuexplain watu waelewe.
So that, I mean, for instance, in Turkana, the debate was very heated, you know, about infrastructure, because both are at a very fairly poor level, you know, and the difficulty was real. You know, which one do we focus on? Do we focus on infrastructure? We have discovered oil, and therefore we need infrastructure, but we also need education. You know, who are the engineers who will get employed? So it was a very difficult, but that first lesson, that people given the right kind of information can actually contribute and participate in a debate. I think that was fast.
I need to create some new groups. I want to shake things up a little bit so that we are all in different places from where we were before. Instead of us coming back and discussing together, what we will do is that within our groups, we will come up with an allocation for our sectors, those 2 sectors, and we will give 3 reasons as to why we've allocated based on whatever criteria we take. The 2 sectors you have, social protection, culture, recreation, is a very long name. And the second one is governance, justice, law and order. So in your files you have those 2 sectors as well. Look at them. Remember to keep looking at the factors. Remember to look at performance and information like that, so that it can give you something to work with.
Last year, there was shortage of maize flour in our country, and the country had to export unga. This is because there was they were talking about a shortage of rains, and also we are expecting drought this year. So already some parts of the country have experienced this hunger, like areas of Baringo. I think you have seen in the newspapers and all this. So there is a need to put more money on social programs to feed the people before we waiting for the long rains and planting season.
when we speak about increasing a percentage of this sector, we know where we are getting our reasons from. Like now, we justify that part of this, one of the reasons is that we have had challenges in the improvement of this because of the little allocation. So by increasing this allocation, we will be able maybe to establish something like the children's homes, maybe. Instead of having children all over in these streets, we can have them taken somewhere, maybe where maybe the government will begin getting to know who are their parents, whether they are able or not, so that they are held responsible for the reasons as to why children go to the streets. And then we go to those maybe people with disabilities. What is it that they can do? Maybe they have they can maybe do some education, attend some education programs, but because they are not here, they are not able. Those are maybe people with disabilities. And then is it possible that we initiate this to support them, so that can increase the percentage of the allocation? But of course, we agreed earlier that it will not go to, it will not go beyond the governance, justice, law and order sector. It will still remain behind, and the other one remains up a bit.
This is to bring to attention that we have to find a budget control of the two. And the budget control comes as a result of the 100% we require per delayed programs. The question now begins, what could be our percentage in social protection, culture, and recreation? This we require to find a percentage that we are going to apply or put in social protection, culture, and recreation.
Why can this 203 billion be reduced to become, other than 81%, to become 75%? And then the other to increase up to 25%.
We must outweigh the two of them. You know, the security in governance and justice, law and order, that's a very big docket. But I think also to be emphasized on our culture, let's go there to fight for our culture. And if we didn't choose our culture, we wouldn't be having all these problems. You see, we will support that.
For social protection, could involve gender.
Obviously, no one who is not affected.
Promote equality agenda, how to respect children's rights. Obviously, justice no hiyo shaingia. So I think social protection should have the largest.
Shaipea in 70. 70. Then we make sure that we retain our culture. No, cultural activities and also recreation activities. It will be more better than the present.
Each group had its own discussion and came up with their own agreement and their own 3 reasons as to why that agreement was what was the best according to their discussion. So number 1, I hope all groups did that, or at least got to some good level. Number 2, each representative from each group will come and present to us their division, how they shared the money between the 2 sectors, and their 3 reasons.
We at least raise on social protection to 30%, and then have governance, justice, law and order at 70%. Reason number 1, when we increase that on social protection, we are likely to decrease the crime rates. And once we decrease the crime rates, the proportion we had taken from governance will be taken because crime itakuwa kidogo, kwa hivyo polisi will not need those equipments and whatever. Reason number 2, we need to focus on the less fortunate in our society, the street children, the people with disabilities. We need to bring them level with the common person. Reason number 3, there's this thing called dependency levels.
Creation, we have allocated 60. And for governance, justice, law and order, we have allocated 40. First reason that we have given is that by giving more to social protection, culture and recreation, we give it an opportunity for increased employment. The reason 2 that we have given is on culture. That culture, by investing or putting more in social protection, culture and recreation, is that we shall be boosting the economy. The 3rd reason that we have given is that if you look at the MDAs that are there for the social protection, culture and recreation, it involves Uwezo Fund, it involves Women Fund, it involves Fund for the Disability, National Disaster Management, and we know these are things that come along with us. The allocation that was given was just 45 billion. And when you look at for the governance, justice and law, it was allocated too much, yet most of its work is being duplicated.
Under social protection, culture and recreation, we gave 25%. Governance, justice, law and order, 75. One of the reasons is security being a major player in a stabilized country. Number two, we should make funds available to strengthen sagas like East Ethics Anti-Corruption Commission. Then reason three, funds are also supposed to be made available for facilitation of international relations.
Tulipeana governance 61%. Na social protection 39%. Tulisema hii pesa, we looked at the previous budget ya mwaka jana, tukakuta pesa ingine ilikuwa kwa IBC about 11%. Tukaweka wapi? Reason ya kwanza hapa, more funds will be available to deploy security agents because of good governance. That is true. The rate of corruption and fraud will be reduced. Allocation number 3, the marginalized and persons with disabilities will be empowered economically.
For GJLO, we gave 60%. For SPCR, 40%. For answers on the GJLO is, the GJLO has a lot of sectors, or MDS, which is it needs much attention for a country to have adjust. That means good governance. The absorption rate, you find that the GJLO absorption rate is 92% as compared to SPCR, which has less MDS, but the scope is that absorption scope is 89%. You find GJLO has a lot. It has about 14 MDS. I don't know, 20 sub the others, as compared to the other one, which has only, I don't know, 9.
Ilipeana 60 kwa governance, justice, law and order. Alafu 40% ilipeana kwa protection, culture and recreation. Many departments that are sensitive on digital issues that help to maintain law and order. Reason 2, JLO help in mainstream justice. 60% is a proportionate to the MDs of JLO, similar to a social protection. Many departments will be vulnerable. When more allocations is made social protection, the allocation will be worst due to a few MDs.
Emerging challenges like the disaster, drought, and famine that we have, and nowadays even with the long rains, farmers cannot plan adequately for the planting season, so that anytime famine can strike, so these departments need more allocation so that they can be able to address such kind of challenges as they arise. Secondly, the second reason why we have given this sector the huge allocation is the high cost of living. Remember, there was a cash transfer for the person with disability and for the elderly. I think they were being given 2,000 shillings per month, and with the high cost of living, seriously, that one cannot be enough. So the allocation that is being channeled to them should also go up. Yes, there are some departments in the governance, justice, and law and order that they have outlived their usefulness. Because like the ethics and anti-corruption, surely they are not doing much. They're just doing a lot of talking, but no actions. And yet again, the allocation is being given to them. The protection of human rights and promotion of human rights, again, they're being given allocation, nothing much from them. Yes, betting and control board, nothing much from them. Promotion of gender equality and freedom. Honestly, that one again, just taking money, nothing.
For social protection, we give it 30%. And for governance, justice, law and order, we give it 70%. The GLO sector consists of 14 MDS, 20 semi-autonomous government agencies, and 15 tribunals. that require a huge chunk of money for operation. So we gave it that 70%. While the other sector, that is social protection, culture and recreation, has got only 6 departments, 6 MDAs and 20 SAGS. For governance, justice and law, there were key priority issues that require funding. For instance, we saw security as a major factor, as a major element in governance that requires huge funding. We noted quite a big number of emerging issues in governance, justice, law and order that require immediate or rather adequate funding.
Social protection, culture and recreation 35%, and governance, justice, law and order 65%. We were, in our assessment of the discussion, we realized that with the strength and good governance, prevailing justice within law and order, certain aspect of social protection and culture and recreation become self-initiate for positive human development. Reason number 2, you realize, like for example, if you look at certain departments within
social protection.
Look, certain departments of social protection are duplication of what is happening in DJLO. The allocations are low on certain departments of governance, DJLO, and there's more reason for those commissions to adequate, because they could be underperformed because of inadequate funding. So for them to realize their mandates, and because, for example, if it is a commission that is supposed to come to the ground, talk to the people, and there is no funding enough to do that, they'll sit and wait if there is any money to be put to them. So those things lie just like that. So more funding needs to be given to them.
Kuko na ile difference ya allocations in different sectors. Yes, among the 10 sectors now, I have realized that there's difference in allocation by the government, depending on their performance.
To give priorities in their budgeting, so that they can know which areas are very much key, which they can budget first, and then others they can be of importance but they might not be of priority, and there are other emerging issues that can come up in the middle of their budgets, and they need to reallocate their budgets to fit that. Also, they need to follow up on their budgeting so that they know how they can monitor these funds to know whether they have implemented the projects or not.
About the factors to consider when making a budget, when planning for a budget, like the 8 issues that we discussed in the morning, which are key in making a budget. And then I also learned some of the challenges the sectors face when the budget has been passed in the parliament. There are issues that come after the budget has been passed, like the ones we are calling the emerging issues.
The input of the citizens is very key to the various allocations. And I also know that I know that the people feel that their input is never taken seriously, since the budget making process as by the name suggests that it is a process. So not all of them that participate from the beginning to the end of the process. So at some point they get lost, and that is where implementations are done in their absence, allocations are done without their knowledge, and not everything goes right.